How to practice yoga with an injured shoulder. Today, I want to demonstrate different ways that you can practice some of the techniques in Ashtanga and Vinyasa yoga if you have a shoulder injury. Today, I'm going to imagine that I have a shoulder injury and I'm going to hold my arm in this sort of position as if I had a sling on it to show how we can do a couple of different poses while working with this sort of injury. All right, so remember, number one, consult with your physician. I'm not offering medical advice. Check in with your doctor first. With that being said, there is a way that you can practice yoga when you're rehabbing a shoulder injury. Obviously, there's a whole host of different injuries that you could have: a rotator cuff tear, inflammation of the biceps tendon, bursitis. There's a whole host of different things that can be going on. So my goal is to show you ways that you can still go through a yoga practice, a physical or a hatha yoga practice, while taking care of your shoulder. There's going to be two main ways that you can work. One of them, keeping the arm immobilized and not using the arm in any of the poses. The second is that you might be in the, say, post-surgical rehab process where you are moving your arm again. So I will try to demonstrate these two different ways of approaching. One, where you just keep the shoulder immobilized, and two, ways to start integrating different range of motion techniques within each pose. On that note, first, I'm going to start with some of the standing poses. Well, actually, let me back up. If we do a Surya Namaskar, we could still inhale, raise our arm up. You could still exhale and fold. Inhale, raise your head up. As far as vinyasa work coming down, this would be interesting to just do it like a kind of a cow. And then for our child's pose, if you have the ability, because I don't think there's going to be any real main reason to do a downward dog like this. I mean, if you're feeling that gung-ho, then of course you can give it a try. But realistically, most people are going to be feeling timid. We feel timid after we've had some sort of major injury. So we'll make the movements modified and relatively easy. So in relation to a down dog, here I'm just kneeling and breathing, inhale and exhale. And this is a way that we could still move through a sun salutation. Inhale, exhale, fold down. Inhale, come all the way up, and exhale, relax the arm down. Now, if I have a rotator cuff injury, that involves four specific muscles: the sits muscles, SITS, supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, and the subscapularis muscle. So there could be other muscles involved, but typically one of those four muscles are injured in what's called a rotator cuff injury. Now, if I have shoulder pain and I can only move my arm a little bit, I'm just going to start to move my arm to the degree. Now, even in this situation where we come forward, just kind of reaching the arm out like this can be difficult. So you're going to be finding a balance of keeping your arm kind of close to the body where it's not in pain, and slowly starting to move your arm in the direction of touching the hand back down onto the floor. Because what we're attempting to do is rehab the shoulder to get to the point where we can go back to either movements we were familiar with before, or if you're brand new to doing yoga, period, and you're wanting to utilize yoga as a form of physical assistance to help get your body prepared for regular range of motion, then hopefully some of these tips will help. So again, the idea, I had my arm held in close, but now I'm just going to do very, very small movement. Now, the other interesting thing that we can do is that, notice if I could only lift this arm about this high, but I have full range of motion in this shoulder, one of the strategies is to have your good side go to the same level of movement as the difficult side. So in that case, even though I can raise this arm all the way up, but this arm can only come up to here, I'm going to take both arms to the same range of motion. This would be my inhale, arms up. And then when I exhale and fold, I'm going to keep my right arm in the same position as my left arm. Inhale, head up. Now to come down, I might come down on my hands and knees. One way we can do an up dog is to do a camel pose, I could keep my arm here, or I might start even interacting with my shoulder in a camel. And then for the down dog, I might be able to get my hand down on the floor. I might just hold some version of the cat pose. Do you see what I'm trying to say? You do what you can do. to the best of your ability in the moment. And little by little, you start to rehab the injury. All right, so let's look at a pose like triangle pose. I'm going to stick with my left shoulder still challenge. So we step our feet apart. Excuse me. This arm I'm going to reach out. I'm keeping a mobilized shoulder on this side. I'm just going to bring my hand down the leg, and I'm still going to practice the shoulder stand while keeping my shoulder in this like not moving position. Now, when I come to the other side, that's where it gets a little interesting because I don't have the ability to reach down. I'm just going to hold my arm in the position and imitate the triangle over on this side. If I were to take it into an extended side angle where we turn our foot out, I'm going to do what I can with all the other parts of my body in the pose to the best of my ability. And what's cool is you're going to get really creative. You're going to do stuff that nobody's ever seen before. You can still walk into a public class, and or the beauty of taking class online like this on YouTube is that, or on social media, is that, or on our online platform, is that you can be at home. You're not really worried about trying to keep up with anybody else. All right, so now for the left side, because I'm unable to bring my elbow down on my thigh, I'm just going to work the pose holding here. Now what's going to happen is other areas of your body are going to get strong. We do have this issue, this situation where we'll compensate, so we'll be aware of that. But generally speaking, any exercise at this point is going to be really good. Okay, so let's look at the wide foot stretching pose. So I can fold forward. I bring my hand on the floor. I can do the B version where I have my hand on my hip. In the C version, we end up stretching the shoulder, so I might just wrap my arm behind my back. And then in the D position, I could grab one ankle, or I could even reach over and grab the other ankle. And I can still practice all of these positions while keeping my arm immobilized. However, if I have a little bit of limited range of motion, a couple of things I can do if I come back to the triangle. So I might be able to get my arm straight on the side of my body. Now, when you start to lift your arm up, you're going to find that you might be better going out, but going forward is very difficult. You might be good at going forward, but going into shoulder extension is very difficult. You might have a combination of the two. You can go out to the side pretty easy, but it hurts to go forward and it hurts to go back. So I want you to try to find the direction that you feel like you are able to move your arm, so that then when you come into the triangle, you'll just very gently, I might exercise lifting my arm a little bit this way. Just holding the arm in space like this is building strength in the joint. So even though I'm not reaching my arm all the way up, just by having the arm out in this plane and just moving the shoulder around, you're slowly beginning to rehab it and move the joint to the best of your ability. And if it gets painful, then you know, all right, I got to back off. That probably was enough. If the next day you're really sore, maybe you have to take a different approach. You have to move a little slower. So, maybe I just keep my arm relaxed on the side of my body and I just don't engage with that arm on that level. Now, when I go to lean on the arm, I might find, well, this isn't so bad. I can get to here. So now what's kind of cool about triangle pose in relation to the shoulder is that the further you come down, the more the arm is being taken into this, what is this? This is abduction, out, away from. Adduction is in, abduction is out. Coming together is horizontal adduction. Going out is horizontal abduction. When we go forward is flexion. When we go backward is extension. And then we do have this ability to do supination and pronation, but that's really in relation to the forearm and the elbow, not so much the shoulder. The shoulder joint can make this kind of circumduction-like motion, but if we break it just into these quadrants, this is language that we can use to help communicate the ideas that we aim for you to attempt to try to do as a teacher. But also as a student, the more you learn some of this terminology, you can communicate this to your doctor, to your physical therapist, to your yoga teacher, to your massage therapist, to whoever you work with. All right, so I feel like that's really the basis of what I wanted to point out. Use your yoga practice as rehab. The big thing I'd like to help you overcome is this idea that I can't practice yoga because fill in the blank. I have a knee injury, I have an ankle injury, I have a spinal injury, I have all sorts of different physical ailments that are going on. There's ailments that are different, like I could have cancer, I could have All sorts of different diseases. There's a way to still engage with yoga to use it as a therapeutic part of the healing process and to help us work through some of these difficulties and challenges. If you have a specific question, I'm happy to answer. I'd love to answer. So send me a note on the comment section and or you can find me on my website, nativeyogacenter.com. All right. Thank you. Have a great day.